We've got a guy called Dave Roberts who runs something called Partake Ministries, and I believe you spoke to him as well.
We did indeed, and we're just going to hear what he said when I spoke to him. Dave, you're another one of the Moorlands graduates. Now, your dissertation set you off on a journey. Would you like to explain a wee bit about that to us?
Well, thanks. My dissertation is a virtual church part of the historical church? And my conclusion was that it is. And that started on this journey since my graduation 18 months ago.
Perhaps you should explain to us a bit more about what a virtual church is.
Well, a virtual church is a church that is internet-based, primarily for those who are housebound, geographically isolated, or just can't get to a church on a Sunday. So it gives them an opportunity to have some form of fellowship and worship.
So they would log into this church?
They would.
So how would they log in?
Well, if they can go to www.partakers.co.uk, they can download my podcasts, but there are other virtual churches on the internet.
So tell us a bit about Partake. What kind of things would they find if they went on there?
Well, generally there's a whole series of podcasts. There's ADD, which is Active Daily Discipleship, which is about podcasts of 8 to 10 minutes long. And they're set into a series of 12 modules. And then there's also JOG, Jesus Overview and the Gospels, which is another series of 18 podcasts, about 10 minutes long. And we also have another current series called WISE, which is Words in Scripture Explored, which is describing words of Scripture in about 3 minutes.
So in other words, if you are housebound and can't get out and about, you can still go on to Partake and get different messages and Bible studies, and do you have worship on there as well?
That's right, we do have some worship, but we're currently expanding that. We don't have the virtual church itself at partakers.co.uk, but we have links to other churches that do.
Now, are you able to sort of track how many people are downloading things?
Yes, I do. I have a global audience. We normally get about 100 visitors per day, and there's about 1,000 downloads per week.
Now, you say you've got a global audience. Where do most people download from?
Well, surprisingly enough, most people download from China. So about half of them download from China, between 20-25% in North America, as you probably expect. And in Europe, Germany's the highest downloader and visitors.
What other sort of interactions do you have? I mean, do people email you directly, or is it just all done through the virtual church?
Well, some people do email. Some people can leave comments on the actual podcasting site itself. And it's not just me. I'm the main one who does the podcasting, but I also have a team of international people from Australia and America who might put over ideas, and we talk about it on a support group.
So how do you work out what kind of things to talk about?
Lots of prayer. And then I also, just over a cup of coffee, I'll just come up with an idea, and then I'll follow that idea through. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But most of the time, the ideas come through.
I mean, when you're doing the podcasting, I don't know how you feel, but I know for me, even on radio, it's nice to see, people's eyes and how they're responding to you. I mean, is that a problem when you're putting this out on via the internet?
I have a vivid imagination, so it's no problem for me whatsoever.
I understand that you're not alone in Partake Ministries. There's several virtual churches.
Yes, there's loads of virtual churches around. The main one in Britain is sponsored by the Methodist Church, and that's St. Pixel's. And there's lots of interesting interaction, shall we say, between evangelicals and liberal Christians and non-Christians, etc. And there is also a couple of large Anglican virtual churches, as well as you would expect a lot in America. But they also have a global audience because of the internet.
I mean, the ideal is obviously if you can go to church, you get to church because you can interact. But for some reasons, people can't. But then again, there might be people who do both. There might be people who come along to Powner, for example, but do virtual church as well.
Exactly. And I think that everyone has done some form of virtual worship at some point, even if that's just singing along to a CD. That's still virtual worship.
Well, I can say now that I've met a virtual pastor.
Thank you very much.